Okay, start.
Yung for today po, Doc.
Itong trauma-informed interviewing ito. Nasa screen ba?
Opo.
Okay, sige.
Trauma-informed interviewing in SAI. For today, 18 October 2025 meeting. Here's a trauma-informed interviewing primer for sexual assault investigations tailored to third-year forensic science students with 5 OSCE-style scenarios, each for child survivors, adult survivors, and relatives of fatal cases. All are grounded in the best practices and recent literature. Babasahin po ulit, Doc.
Sige. 6 pages yan. Ikaw muna. Sige.
Trauma-informed interviewing core principles. Trauma-informed interviewing prioritizes safety, trustworthiness, choice, collaboration, and empowerment. It recognizes how trauma affects memory, behavior, and engagement with legal systems. Interviewers must avoid re-traumatization, use open-ended prompts, and adapt to survivor needs. An objective structured clinical examination (OSCE) is a perform-based assessment method used to evaluate practical skills, decision-making, and communication in real-world scenarios. In an OSCE, students rotate through time stations where they interact with standardized patients, role players, or simulations to demonstrate competencies such as interviewing, documentation, and evidence handling. Each station is guided by a checklist to ensure consistency, objectivity, and alignment with learning outcomes.
Sige.
For forensic, for forensic science students, OSCEs offer critical benefits. They simulate high-stakes environments such as crime scenes, hospital intakes, or courtroom testimony, allowing learners to apply theoretical knowledge in trauma-informed, survivor-centered contexts. OSCEs foster clinical reasoning, ethical sensitivity, and legal literacy, especially in sensitive cases like sexual assault, child abuse, or disaster forensics. Students gain confidence in navigating complex interpersonal dynamics, documenting findings accurately, and adhering to jurisprudence integrated protocols. Moreover, OSCE support formative feedback and remediation, helping educators identify gaps in student performance and tailor support. They promote reflective practice and professional accountability, preparing students for multidisciplinary collaboration in forensic, legal, and medical settings. In trauma-informed education, OSCEs are indispensable tools for cultivating empathy, precision, and survivor advocacy, hallmarks of ethical forensic practice. Child survivor scenarios, ages 6 to 12. Each OSCE station includes setting, child-friendly room with toys and visual aids, role player, trained actor or simulation avatar, checklist, report building, non-leading prompts, caregiver coordination. Scenario number 1. Disclosure at school. Child tells teacher about inappropriate touching. OSCE focus, report, groundings, techniques, avoiding suggestive questions. Scenario number 2. Hospital intake. Description. Child arrives with bruises and withdrawn behavior. OSCE focus. Use of drawings, sensory tools, caregiver consent. Scenario number 3. Police station interview. Description. Child reluctant to speak, clings to caregiver. OSCE focus. Managing silence, caregiver presence, pacing. Scenario number 4. Forensic nurse handoff. Description. Child post safe exam, anxious, and tearful. OSCE focus, debriefing, validating emotion, explaining next steps. Scenario number 5, court preparation. Child preparing to testify, OSCE focus, role play, empowerment, explaining legal process simply. Adult survivor scenarios, ages 18 and above. Each OSCE station includes setting, private, neutral space with trauma-informed signage, role player, survivor with varied emotional responses, checklist, consent, cultural sensitivity, pacing. Scenario number 1, ER disclosure. Description, survivor discloses assault during triage. OSCE focus, respecting autonomy, avoiding judgmental language. Scenario number 2, police intake. Description, survivor overwhelmed, fragmented memory. OSCE focus, FEPI style prompts, neurobiology of trauma. Scenario number 3, LGBTQ plus survivor. Description, survivor fears discrimination. OSCE focus, affirming identity, inclusive language. Scenario number 4, migrant worker. Description, survivor with limited English, fears deportation. OSCE focus, interpreter use, legal reassurance. Scenario number 5, survivor with disability. Description, survivor with cognitive impairment. OSCE focus, supportive communication, legal guardian coordination.
Stop muna, Miss Kiara. So, ito Miss Kiara, paki-read yung bold font. Ayan.
Sa mga third-year forensic science students, di tayo gagamit ng mga stations, kundi gagawa tayo ng group 10 to 15 minutes video before the start of finals examination period and will be graded as your performance grade. Kaya as soon as you finish today's module, habang fresh pa sa inyong memory ay start doing your OSCE videos para di kayo matambakan sa finals examination period. This will help you act what you have learned in SAI.
Okay. So, explain ko ito. Itong OSCE ay ginagamit sa mga mga providers, kagaya ng mga medical providers, nursing providers, forensic science providers sa pag-interview sa mga customers. Sino ang kanilang mga customers? Ang customers nila ay yung mga sexual assault survivors, yung relatives ng mga fatal sexual assault cases, yung mga other cases ng survivor of violence other than sexual assault. So in other words, lahat ng pwedeng gamiting pag-interview ng mga investigador ay merong mga customer, yung mga customer na kagaya ng mga nabanggit natin, yung mga relatives ng fatal cases of stabbing, relatives of cases of fatal sexual abuse. So, anything that comes in contact with customers, you need to have an standardized method of how to approach the case from the beginning. Yeah. So in your case, hindi tayo gagawa ng stations, kundi you will make your own videos 10 to 15 minutes before the start of the finals para you act your knowledge into applicable situations, which you will choose from the following that we have discussed. child survivor scenarios. Yan. So, ibig sabihin nito, there is a living child survivor of sexual assault. So, you can use a situation not only in sexual assault or maybe child abuse other than sexual abuse, kagaya ng child bullying, um, um, sa mga families o broken families na yung child ay ginugulpi ng ah, hindi tunay na ama, hindi tunay na ina. Pag wala yung isang asawa or asawang babae o asawang lalaki. Okay? Another is the adult survivor scenarios. This time, the ages of the survivors are 18 years old. Okay. Now, these are the relatives of fatal case scenarios. Hindi lang sexual assault cases, kundi yung mga stabbing cases, vehicular accidents, what else? Gunshot wounds. Okay. So, actually, this is objective structured clinical exam is how you apply your knowledge in forensic science and sexual assault investigation. It is widely used in training of medical students, nursing students. So in our case, if you have not yet heard about this, this is a new technique which I find useful for graduating forensic science students. Now, by the time you become frontline responders sa forensic science investigation, you can use what you have learned from this OSCE. Okay ba yan, Miss Kiara?
Yes po, Doc.
So, continue with the relatives of fatal case scenarios. Okay.
Relatives of fatal case scenarios. Each OSCE station includes setting, bereavement sensitive, role player, grieving relative, parent, sibling, partner. Checklist, empathy, legal clarity, trauma-informed grief support. Scenario number 1. Notification. Description. Family informed of sexual assault. OSCE focus. Compassionate delivery. Presence of support personnel. Scenario number 2. Evidence briefing. Description. Family asked to provide victims belongings. OSCE focus. Consent explaining chain of custody. Scenario number 3. Autopsy results. Description. Family receives forensic findings. OSCE focus. Plain language, emotional regulation. Scenario number 4. Legal briefing. Description. Family updated on case progress. OSCE focus. Transparency, managing expectation. Scenario number 5. Memorial support. Description. Family asked about victim rights and legacy. OSCE focus. Survivor dignity, trauma-informed advocacy.
Stop ulit, Miss Kiara. So, yung mga binabanggit ditong mga senaryo ay yung how will you notify sa number 1 a family about a sexual uh, assault related death. Ang pinaka-focus ng iyong topic or delivery ay a compassionate delivery and presence of support personnel. Okay? In our case, sa situation natin, paggawa nyo ng video, you will focus. Oh! 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 On this your compassionate delivery. Oh! Sa senaryo naman ng autopsy result, families usually ask the doctor about the autopsy result. So what you will do is you must explain the result to a relative in plain language. And habang kinakausap mo sila, usually ang tanong mo ay, okay ba sa inyo? Nasasabi sa ang resulta ng autopsy. Kung hindi okay sa inyo, you can come back anytime. Or if okay ngayon, I will give you the autopsy result. Okay ba, Miss Kiara?
Opo, Doc.
Ito naman, sa child survivor scenarios, Miss Kiara.
Child survivor scenarios, ages 6 to 12. Number 1. Disclosure at school. English. Hi, child's name. I'm here because someone told me you were feeling upset. You're not in trouble. Can you tell me what happened in your own words if you feel okay talking about it? Tagalog. Kamusta? Nandito ako dahil may nagsabi na parang malungkot ka. Hindi ka napapagalitan. Pwede mo bang ikwento kung ano ang nangyari gamit ang sarili mong salita kung handa ka na magsalita? Number 2. Hospital intake. English. You're safe here. I have some crayons and paper. Sometimes drawing helps kids tell their story. You can draw anything you want. If you want to talk about what happened, I'll be here. Tagalog. Ligtas ka dito. May mga krayola at papel ako. Minsan, nakakatulong ang pagguhit para makapagkwento ang mga bata. Pwede kang gumuhit ng kahit ano. Kung gusto mong pag-usapan ang nangyari, nandito lang ako. Police station interview. English. It's okay to feel nervous. You can sit with caregiver's name if that helps. We'll go slow. Can you tell me about a time when you didn't feel safe? Tagalog. Ayos lang, nakabahan. Pwede kang umupo sa tabi ni pangalan ng tagapag-alaga kung makakatulong. Dahan-dahan lang tayo. Pwede mo bang ikwento ang isang pagkakataon na hindi ka nakakaramdam ng ligtas? Number 4. Forensic nurse handoff. English. You were very brave today. I know that was hard. Do you want to talk about how you're feeling now? You can ask me anything about what happens next. Tagalog. Napakatapang mo ngayon. Alam kong mahirap iyon. Gusto mo bang pag-usapan kung ano ang nararamdaman mo ngayon? Pwede kang magtanong tungkol sa mga susunod na mangyayari. Number 5. Court preparation. You might be asked to talk in front of some people soon. They are there to help. You can say, I don't remember or I don't want to answer if you need to. Want to practice together? Tagalog. Maaaring hilingin sa iyo na magsalita sa harap ng ilang tao. Nandyan sila para tumulong. Pwede mong sabihin ang hindi ko maaalala o ayokong sagutin kung kailangan. Gusto mo bang mag-practice tayo? Adult survivor scenarios, ages 18 and above. Number 1. ER disclosure. English. I'm sorry this happened. You're in control of what you share. I'll ask a few questions to understand how best to help. You can stop or skip anything. Tagalog. Nakikiramay ako sa nangyari. Ikaw ang may kontrol sa kung ano ang gusto mong ibahagi. Magtatanong ako ng kaunti para malaman kung paano kita matutulungan. Pwede mong ihinto o laktawan ang kahit anong tanong. Number 2. Police intake. English. It's okay if things feel jumbled. Trauma affects how memories work. Just start wherever feels right. I'll listen without interrupting. Tagalog. Ayos lang kung magulo ang mga alaala. Nakakaapekto ang trauma sa pag-alala. Simulan mo kung saan ka komportable. Makikinig ako nang hindi kita puputulin.
Stop, Miss Kiara. Iba naman, pagod ka na ba yata? Miss Dikdika, nandiyan ka ba?
Yes po.
Oh, sige, sa'yo naman to. Number 3. Okay.
LGBTQ plus survivor. English. I want to make sure this space feels safe for you. Is there a name or pronoun you'd like me to use? You deserve respect and care. Whatever you share stays confidential. Tagalog. Gusto kong siguraduhin na ligtas ang espasyong ito para sa iyo. May pangalan o panghalip ba na gusto mong gamitin ko? Karapat-dapat kang igalang at alagaan. Anumang ibahagi mo ay mananatiling lihim. 4. Migrant worker. English. You're safe here. No one will ask about your immigration status. I'll use an interpreter so you can speak freely. You can choose what to share. Tagalog. Ligtas ka dito. Walang magtatanong tungkol sa iyong dokumento o estado. Gagamit tayo ng tagasalin para makapagsalita ka ng malaya. Ikaw ang pipili kung ano ang gusto mong ibahagi. 5. Survivor with disability. English. I want to make sure you understand everything. I'll speak slowly and clearly. If you want someone to help you answer, that's okay. You can say yes, no, or I don't know anytime. Tagalog. Gusto kong siguraduhin na naiintindihan mo ang lahat. Magsasalita ako ng dahan-dahan at malinaw. Kung gusto mong may tumulong sa pagsagot, ayos lang. Pwede mong sabihin ang oo, hindi, o hindi ko alam kahit kailan.
Okay.
Relatives of fatal case scenarios. 1. Notification. English. I'm so sorry to tell you this. Victim's name. Died following a sexual assault. We're here to support you and answer any questions. You're not alone. Tagalog. Lubos akong nakikiramay sa balitang ito. Si, pangalan ng biktima ay pumanaw matapos ang isang pag-atake. Nandito kami para sumuporta at sagutin ang iyong mga tanong. Hindi ka nag-iisa. 2. Evidence briefing. English. We need to collect some of victims' names, belongings. This helps us understand what happened. You can ask questions anytime. We'll treat everything with care. Tagalog. Kailangan namin kunin ang ilang gamit ni pangalan ng biktima. Makakatulong ito sa pag-unawa sa nangyari. Pwede kang magtanong kahit kailan. Maingat naming hahawakan ang lahat. 3. Autopsy results. English. The medical examiner found injuries consistent with sexual assault. I'll explain what that means in simple terms. You can stop me anytime if it's too much. Tagalog. Natuklasan ng medical examiner ang mga pinsalang kaugnay ng pag-atake. Ipaliwanag ko ito sa simpleng paraan. Pwede mo akong pigilan kung masyado nang mabigat. 4. Legal briefing. English. The investigation is ongoing. We've identified some leads. I'll explain what happens next and what your rights are. You can ask anything. Tagalog. Tuloy-tuloy pa ang investigasyon. May ilang posibleng lead na kami. Ipaliwanag ko ang mga susunod na hakbang at ang inyong mga karapatan. Pwede ka magtanong ng kahit ano. 5. Memorial support. English. Many families choose to honor their loved ones through advocacy or memorials. If that's something you'd like, I can help connect you with resources. Tagalog. Marami pamilya ang nagbibigay-pugay sa kanilang mahal sa buhay sa pamamagitan ng advokasya o alaala. Kung gusto mo iyon, matutulungan kitang makahanap ng mga mapagkukunan.
Ito,
Care-
child survivor, yan.
Child Survivor Interview Checklists. 1. Disclosure at school. Scenario. Child discloses inappropriate touching to a teacher. Checklist. Criteria. Introduces self in a calm, friendly tone. Tagalog. Nagpakilala ng mahinahon at magiliw. Ensures child is not in trouble. Tiniyak sa bata na hindi siya napapagalitan. Uses open-ended, non-leading questions. Gumagamit ng bukas at hindi nangungunang mga tanong. Offers child control over the pace. Binigyan ng kontrol ang bata sa takbo ng usapan. Uses age-appropriate language. Gumagamit ng angkop na wika para sa edad ng bata. 2. Hospital intake. Scenario. Child presents with injuries, needs gentle engagement. Checklist. Criteria. Creates a safe, child-friendly environment. Lumikha ng ligtas at kaaya-ayang lugar para sa bata. Offers drawing or play materials. Nagbigay ng Crayola o laruan para sa pagpapahayag. Coordinates with caregiver appropriately. Nakipag-ugnayan sa tagapag-alaga ng maayos. Avoids pressuring the child to speak. Hindi pinilit ang bata na magsalita. Validates child's emotions. Inunawa at tinanggap ang damdamin ng bata. 3. Police station interview. Scenario. Child is withdrawn and clings to caregiver. Checklist. Criteria. Allows caregiver presence if helpful. Pinayagang manatili ang tagapag-alaga kung nakakatulong. Uses grounding techniques like breathing. Gumagamit ng grounding techniques, halimbawa, paghinga. Respect silence and nonverbal cues. Iginagalang ang pananahimik at kilos ng bata. Avoids suggestive questioning. Iwas sa mga tanong na maaaring mag-impluwensya. Provides breaks as needed. Nagbigay ng pahinga kung kinakailangan. 4. Forensic nurse handoff. Scenario. Post-safe exam. Child is anxious. Checklist. Criteria. Acknowledges child's bravery. Kinilala ang katapangan ng bata. Explains next steps simply. Ipinaliwanag ang mga susunod na hakbang sa simpleng paraan. Offers emotional support. Nagbigay ng emotional na suporta. Checks for understanding. Tiniyak na naintindihan ng bata ang paliwanag. Uses calm, reassuring tone. Gumamit ng mahinahon at nakakaaliw na tono. 5. Court preparation. Scenario. Child preparing to testify. Checklist. Criteria. Explains courtroom rules in child-friendly terms. Ipinaliwanag ang mga papel sa korte sa paraang maiintindihan ng bata. Practices testimony using role-play. Nagsanay gamit ang role-play. Reinforces child's right to pause or not answer. Pinaalala ang karapatang huminto o hindi sumagot. Uses visual aids or dolls if needed. Gumamit ng visual aids o manika kung kinakailangan. Encourages questions from the child. Hinikayat ang bata na magtanong. Adult survivor interview checklists. 1. ER disclosure. Scenario. Survivor discloses during emergency care. Checklist. Criteria. Expresses empathy and non-judgment. Nagpahayag ng pakikiramay at hindi paghusga. Explains purpose of questions. Ipinaliwanag ang layunin ng mga tanong. Offers choice and control. Nagbigay ng pagpipilian at control. Uses non-threatening body language. Gumamit ng hindi nakakatakot na kilos. Ensures privacy and confidentiality. Tiniyak ang pagiging pribado at confidential. 2. Police intake. Scenario. Survivor has fragmented memory. Checklist criteria. Normalizes memory gaps. Ipinaliwanag na normal ang pagkakabura ng alaala. Uses FETI-style prompts. Gumamit ng FETI-style na mga tanong. Avoids pressuring for chronology. Hindi pinilit ang survivor na magkwento ayon sa pagkakasunod-sunod. Validates emotional responses. Tinanggap at inunawa ang emosyon ng survivor. Offers breaks and water. Nag-alok ng pahinga at tubig. 3. LGBTQ plus survivor. Scenario, survivor fears discrimination. Checklist criteria. Asks for preferred name and pronouns. Nagtanong ng nais na pangalan at panghalip. Affirms identity and safety. Pinagtibay ang pagkakakilanlan at kaligtasan. Uses inclusive non-assumptive language. Gumamit ng inklusibong wika na hindi mapanghusga. Avoids heteronormative assumptions. Iwas sa mga heteronormative na palagay. Enforces confidentiality. Tiniyak ang pagiging confidential. 4. Migrant sexual worker. Scenario, survivor has limited English and fears deportation. Checklist criteria. Uses certified interpreter. Gumamit ng sertipikadong tagasalin. Reassures about immigration safety. Tiniyak na ligtas ang kalagayan sa imigrasyon. Speak slowly and clearly. Magsalita ng dahan-dahan at malinaw. Confirms understanding through interpreter. Tiniyak ang pag-unawa sa tulong ng tagasalin. Avoids legal jargon. Iwas sa technical na legal na wika. 5. Survivor with disability. Scenario, survivor has cognitive impairment. Checklist criteria. Assesses communication needs. Sinuri ang pangangailangan sa komunikasyon. Uses simple, concrete language. Gumamit ng payak at malinaw na wika. Offers supported decision making. Nagbigay ng tulong sa paggawa ng desisyon. Engages legal guardian if appropriate. Nakipag-ugnayan sa legal na tagapangalaga kung kailangan. Checks for assent and understanding. Tiniyak ang pagsang-ayon at pag-unawa.
Stop, Miss Dikdikan. Okay. So, ito yung mga checklist sa bawat scenario. After you have done the interview, at the end of the report are usually checklist if you miss something, okay? Or to improve the technique of your trauma-informed interviewing. Okay ba yan, Miss Dikdikan?
Yes po.
Sunod naman, tatawag naman ako iba. Uminom ka muna ng tubig. Miss Ruga, nandiyan ka ba? Miss Ruga? Ito na lang si Miss Summer. Miss Summer?
Yes po.
Ito naman yung sa'yo. Start mo yung relatives of fatal case.
Audible po ako daw.
Ha?
Audible po ako.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Relatives of fatal case checklist para di malimutan ng mga dapat gawin. Number 1, notification. Scenario, delivering death notification. Checklist. Criteria. Delivers news in private, quiet setting. English. Check. Tagalog. Ipinahayag ang balita sa pribado at tahimik na lugar. Uses clear, compassionate language. Check. Gumamit ng malinaw at mahabaging wika. Allows time for emotional response. Check. Nagbigay ng oras para sa emotional na tugon. Offers presence of support personnel. Check. Nag-alok ng presensya sa taga-suporta. Provides immediate resources. Check. Nagbigay ng agarang tulong at impormasyon. 2, evidence briefing. Scenario, requesting victims' belongings. Checklist. Explains purpose of evidence collection. Check. Ipinaliwanag ang layunin ng pagkuha ng ebidensya. Request consent respectfully. Check. Humingi ng pahintulot ng may paggalang. Describes chain of custody simply. Ipinaliwanag ang proseso ng chain of custody. Answers questions clearly. Sumagot sa mga tanong na malinaw. Offers written information. Nagbigay ng nakasulat na impormasyon. Number 3, autopsy results. Scenario, sharing forensic findings. Uses plain non-technical language. Gumamit ng payak na wika, hindi technical. Explains findings with sensitivity. Pinaliwanag ang resulta ng may malasakit. Checks for understanding. Tiniyak ang pag-unawa ng pamilya. Allows emotional processing. Nagbigay ng espasyo para sa emosyon. Offers follow-up support. Nagbigay ng further support.
Ito, pakibasa ito. Yan.
Ito yung sa FETI style. Here are 5 OSCE style scenarios designed around the principles of the forensic experiential trauma interview method. These scenarios help forensic science students practice trauma-informed interviewing that respects fragmented memory, emotional regulation, and survivor agency.
Continue. Yeah.
Continue pa.
Opo, yes.
FETI style OSCE scenarios. Number 1, delayed disclosure at a clinic. A survivor discloses a sexual assault that occurred months ago during a routine health visit. Focus. Use non-linear prompts. Can you tell me what you were thinking when you decided to come today? Avoid why questions. Validate delayed reporting. Skills assess. Rapport, memory normalization, basic. Number 2, fragmented memory at police intake scenario. Survivor struggles to recall sequence of events but remembers sensory details. Focus. Ask, what do you remember feeling, seeing, or hearing? Accept gaps and pauses. Avoid correcting or filling in details. Skills assess. Sensory-based prompting, non-judgmental listening. Number 3, survivor with emotional dysregulation. Scenario, survivor becomes tearful, angry, or dissociative during interview. Focus. Pause interview respectfully. Offer grounding. Would you like a moment or some water? Resume only with consent. Skills assessed, emotional regulation, trauma-informed pacing. Number 4, survival with minimal verbal response. Scenario, survival response with short phrases or silence. Focus. Use experiential prompts. What was going through your mind at that moment? Avoid pressure to elaborate. Validate effort to engage. Skills assess, managing silence, experiential framing. Number 5, survivor recalling through sensory triggers. Scenario. Survivor recalls events when shown a neutral object. Example, clothing, location, photo. Focus. Ask, does this bring anything to mind? Avoid leading interpretations. Document sensory recall accurately. Skills assess, trigger-sensitive interviewing, documentation.
Yung bold letters. Okay.
Sa mga third-year forensic science students, di tayo gagamit ng mga stations kundi gagawa tayo ng group 10 to 15 minutes video before the start of finals examination period and will be graded as your performance grade. Kaya as soon as you finish today's module, habang fresh pa ang inyong memory, I start doing your OSCE videos para di kayo matambakan sa finals examination period. This will help you act what you have learned in SAI.
Okay. Can you read 2 pages of this? This is from a journal. Okay. You can start here.
Okay pa.
Sige.
18 October 2025, trauma-informed interviewing and the sexual assault and the criminal sexual assault case where investigative techniques meets evidentiary value. Canaf, Lonsway, Archambault, August 2023, and Violence Against Women International, www.ebawintil.org. Statements and observations. Is it evidence? Of course, it's not certain that any particular statement made by the victim or any specific observation documented by the interviewer will be introduced as evidence in the case or be testified as all. As previously noted, this depends on whether they are determined to be relevant, probative, or admissible in court. For example, The victim will not typically testify about the quality of coffee shops or other irrelevant statements made throughout the course of the interview. Similarly, the investigator will not testify about clothing worn by the victim to the interview unless there is some reason why this is relevant or probative. But it is not always obvious at the beginning of an investigation what evidence will become critical in the case. This will typically only become clear after taking additional investigative steps and interviewing any suspects and witnesses. This point can be illustrated with an example of one type of physical evidence: latent prints. Crime scene investigators will often collect numerous latent prints at the scene of a sexual assault and home invasion, not knowing which might ultimately be probative. All the latent prints that are collected and will be impounded as evidence, but the only ones that will be presented by the prosecution at trial will be those that are relevant to the case. Latent prints found on the outside of a window, may be used to identify the defendant and to help prove the criminal offense by establishing a point of entry and the fact that the suspect was not invited into the victim's house. The defense may then try to introduce other prints that were collected to show that the crime could have been committed by some other person, assuming all the impounded prints could not be identified and excluded as belonging to the residents of the home or any past guests. Another analogy can be drawn with biological samples drawn from the victim. At the time, samples are collected from the victim during a medical forensic exam. We don't know yet if they are evidence. We don't know if they will help to provide a legal element or disprove it, or whether they will corroborate or challenge any statements made by the victim, suspect, or witnesses. At this point, a vial of blood or a vaginal swab are just that, a vial of blood or a vaginal swab. More investigation is needed to determine whether they will become evidence in this case. Similarly, it is impossible to know during a victim interview which documented statements, observations, and items of evidence collected will ultimately be introduced as evidence in the case by the prosecution or defense. How victims recall and relay memories. When we are talking about neurobiology or trauma, however, some behaviors observed by an investigator will pertain to how victims remember and share their memories of the sexual assault. For example, victims may have inconsistencies or gaps in their memories, even significant ones. Their memories may lack any logical order, such as chronology. They may lack any sense of time or context, such as the layout of trauma-informed interviewing and the criminal assault case, where investigative technique meets evidentiary value. Hannah Flonsway, Art Campbell. Such as the layout of a room. Victims may also have flashbulb memories, particularly at the onset of an attack, where they can recall a great deal of detail followed by periods of time where they cannot seem to recall many details at all, including details that would seem unforgettable to investigators. Example, whether the suspect sexually penetrated the victim, wore a condom, and or ejaculated. But it is critical to note that these observations of how someone recalls or shares memories are not evidence that the person was sexually assaulted. In other words, they do not help meet the legal elements of a sexual assault offense. This is because such behaviors may be explained in part by neurobiological process, but they may also be due to other causes. For instance, trauma can certainly cause gaps and inconsistencies in memory, but so can alcohol or drug use, inappropriate interviewing techniques, and many other factors. And it can be difficult or impossible to differentiate what the actual cause might be. Victims can also deliberately withhold certain information, including details about the sexual assault that are particularly shameful or humiliating, or information the victim does not want the investigator to know about, like underage drinking, drug use, or involvement in sex trade. Absurd behaviors may therefore be consistent with sexual assault and trauma, and expert testimony may be used to help the jury understand this, because the defense will not often point to these behaviors as evidence that the person is not credible and was not sexually assaulted. However, they should not be considered evidence of the sexual assault itself. Look, he has gaps in his memory. That proves he was raped. Who should testify, victim or investigator? Another question is whether the victim or the investigator should be the one to testify about certain experiences or observed behaviors on the part of the victim. In almost all cases, and subject to hearsay exceptions, an interviewer can simply repeat in their testimony what the victim is already testifying to. For one thing, this would be hearsay evidence, but it would also be improper because it's cumulative. The jury will hear from the victim personally, so it is considered unduly prejudicial to hear the same information repeated by someone else. For this reason, the victim's account will almost never be repeated by another person to whom they gave it. The victim will typically be the only one to testify regarding what they experienced and felt, in terms of both sensations and emotions. On the other hand, the interviewer may be the best person to testify regarding their observations of how the victim behaved during the interview. This may be seen as more credible and compelling by the judge or jury. To illustrate, rather than having the victim testify her feelings, I was upset and cried aloud during the interview. The investigator might testify regarding observed behaviors. She was crying so hard I had to keep waiting to ask her follow-up questions.
Stop, Miss Ruga. So, isi-send ko sa email nyo yung the rest of the module. Ilang pages pa yon. So, today you did a child sexual abuse and trauma-informed interviewing techniques, OSCE. What you shall do is a 10 to 15 minute OSCE video, so that would be acting out your knowledge para masanay kayo how to front as a frontliner yung mga emergency cases. When you are assigned in the women's desk, being forensic science specialist, police officer, or as a medical doctor in a hospital, or in cases na you are a member of the prison system, yung BJMP. So sometimes you will be on duty and you will front, meaning ikaw ang sasalubong doon sa complaint nung inmate. Nag-iisa ka doon at ang oras na pumunta sa iyo yung nagreklamong inmate ay 2:00 ng madaling araw. So, if you know how to do this OSCE as studied or applied and integrated into your subconscious, madali mong makuha, madali kang makapag-navigate sa investigation being a frontliner. Okay ba yun, Ms. Ruga?
Okay po.
Sige.